coming to start off the night. The loser of this match, their playoff chances are basically over. It's all on the line, and we're only in week 3. It's time to kick it off with Corelli and Lemon Kiwi. Let's get into it.
With only 2 weeks left before conference playoffs, both these teams are desperate for a win. It's make or break. Who can salvage their season and keep themselves alive? We gotta find out.
It really is make or break for these teams. The Desk talked about it. You just mentioned it. But both these teams, they've played heavy competition here in CRL. And this is the moment to kind of set yourself apart, at least from each other. And as the Desk mentioned, it's probably going to be a bit of an uphill climb for St. Clair. So they're coming in with their sub. We'll see what they can bring against this Nichols College, as Christian's going to put a shot on target, and that's a great start for St. Clair.
Say, oh, you defending this net? No, you're not. A fantastic demo here earlier, taking out Pyros, and then Christian takes a shot. They were just ramming this net, and finally St. Clair make it through. So the whole point on the Desk of, well, you lost Eris. This substitute Kipper comes in. You don't know how many games this guy has under his belt, at least with this roster. You know you trust that Christian Ramen duo, and you trust Kipper to show up there. He got stopped right at the wall. But St. Clair looked good right off the bat with just the sub, but you almost see Nichols firing back. Yeah,
that's a great start for St. Clair. On the other side of things, Nichols College, they've really had to go through the gamut coming into this matchup. They've done a good job of keeping some of the games closer, but as they mentioned, you know, against Akron Blue, dropping that series in 5. Here's a good shot on target from K. Frost, and of course, their matchup against Bruton Parker and Northwood. I mean, these are big teams here in CRL, West Virginia, Ole Miss. I mean, these are teams that they've lost to. They've played them close in some of those series, but for Nichols College, maybe a bit of a disappointing start, because, I mean, if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. And this is a matchup that feels like a must-win for them here at this moment in this league play.
This almost slipped by the net there. Yeah, Nichols maybe get the noob card, right? It's their first CRL season. You got to start somewhere. Sometimes that's at the bottom, and that's okay. It's St. Clair that have made every CRL World Championship that's ever existed. And, you know, there are multiple chances of doing so. Here's a chance for K. Frost. And that's not on target. Christian trying to get this out. You see some possession being shooken up there, but St. Clair still have to make Canada proud. Robin doing just that. Fantastic placement. St. Clair 2-0.
Yeah, this is a poor touch defensively here. I think it was Polar who went up for it, just trying to clear it away. Took it away from Pyros, and Rahman just has to pick his spot. He puts it back right, and there's nothing that the defense could do about it. 2-0 here for St. Clair early.
Feels like they've been in control, like the offense. They found the rebounds, they found the pressure, taking advantage of those mistakes. Nichols, they're not too quiet either, though. They've been able to fire back, have their own counterattacks. Here's them just still trying to chase down this ball. This Polar off the back wall. Who's going to be stepping up? Christian, he redirects it to the corner, but Pyros still trying to keep the play going. You see Nichols just waiting for their chance to strike. Maybe a second touch from K. Frost, denied there by St. Clair. Pyros with a shot down low, still hasn't found the goal that Nichols is looking for. Yeah, great rhythm here from Nichols, though. Constant pressure, cutting out the long clears coming out from St. Clair as well. The difficulty level of their attack, though, is very, very high. It's making it tough for them to execute. This one awkwardly bounces off the back wall. Nichols, though, they've been knocking on the door now, 6 shots in their name. Still nothing to show for it. It's like St. Clair, they probably have more goals if accuracy was cleaned up. But, you know, it's game 1. We're all warming up here. Christian shoved out of the way. Rahman will take the lead. Gets the demo on the Polar, and that's maybe a drive St. Clair could have worked for, but had to fall back for boost. They know Nichols, it takes some time for them to get ramped up, so St. Clair were able to approach. Now go for some good challenges, and the shot, the defense wasn't there. I thought the interception was clear, but St. Clair 3-0.
Yeah, really lackadaisical there from Nichols, and kind of an awkward ball. It splits between Pyros and Polar, and Rahman just pokes it free. But again, very slow there from Nichols, working their way out, and an unfortunate pinch results in a quality tackle from Rahman on the great timing there.
Just some slip-ups defensively from Nichols, and St. Clair just faster, just better, at least in game 1. Defense, though, holding up for Nichols. They're trying to send this ball away, and Christian's forcing these 50s. You heard from St. Clair in the past how confident this team is, and, you know, you come in with the substitute, and things aren't what you're used to. But man, they're able to still keep up. That's off the cross. Kipper wants to clean it up. not getting the touch he wanted, and that's a chance for Nichols to fire back.
Really looking to see if Nichols can fire back here. This one is cleared away. Dangerous ball, looking for follow-up. Polar can't get it over Ramen. And some great work here from St. Clair, fighting in the midfield. And a decent touch here from Kipper to try and push this one across. St. Clair, they don't really have to push too hard. They've got this one wrapped up in the final minute if they can just lock things down.
Hey, Jorby talked a lot about the potential that Polar brings, the skill that he has. K-Frost trying to set up Pyros there in the box, and Polar waits for his chance in the midfield. And Nichols had some opportunities, just haven't been able to sync up quite yet. Maybe that's pretty typical for, you know, a newer team that at least some players lack experience compared to others. But Nichols have a chance to maybe warm back up in game 2, while St. Clair, you thought they were going to be the ones who had to make bigger adjustments, bringing in that substitute, but things seem A-okay up north.
Yeah, we're looking at 9 shots from St. Clair. I feel like right now their offense, while it wasn't as aggressive as Nichols, it was the more consistent one. I think that's the biggest difference maker here. They were able to capitalize on some slow mistakes from Nichols, but ultimately we're able to put away a couple of very dangerous opportunities when they arised. And I think Nichols, that's something that they've got to take from this game. You look at their attack, they've had plenty of shots, but they just couldn't find the back net, didn't have that conversion rate.
Yeah, Nichols just playing very conservative, you know, trying to wait in that midfield, wait for that chance to touch the ball, wait for their chance to go for that challenge. And it feels like St. Clair are the ones pushing the buttons and Nichols are there watching. And then defensively, Nichols have their backs against the wall, and sometimes their backs aren't there at all. And St. Clair find themselves an open net. A 4-0 to end game 1 is quite convincing.
It's not what the desk was talking about, that's for sure. Yeah. St. Clair coming out swinging in game 1, and we talked about how important this series is for both teams, especially with playoff contentions, just keeping them in the conversation. I think that's the real takeaway here is that both teams need to win this game to stay in the conversation for playoff scenarios. And right now, Nichols and St. Clair doing a great job here in game 1.
I know as a fellow Canadian, as a Canada enjoyer, I know Herc and I went back and forth on, all right, who's going to be doing better? Is it Mexico? Is it Canada? You know, and I know Canada had their doubts. You know, this isn't the same St. Clair from before. This isn't, in terms of top teams from Canada, you're looking at St. Clair and Valleyfield, and obviously this isn't the peak St. Clair that we've had in the past, and you had some doubts, especially when you have this new third coming in. Where is that consistency of Eris being here? Is this something that we have to worry about in St. Clair's future? Well, if Kipper can fill in those shoes and still pull out dubs, I'm not as worried, but St. Clair still have to salvage a season that, yes, they've had a really tough schedule, but can you beat teams that you should be beating, like Nichols College? Yeah,
and that's, I think, what's in both teams' heads coming into this one, right? This is a series where you expect to win. Neither of these teams are the same as, you know, a Northwood or whatever, right? So you're looking at this one on both sides and saying this is a must-win. We've talked about that multiple times now, but there's that added pressure, that added weight for St. Clair of not having Eris in here tonight.
You saw the coaches on the cameras before we got into this game. What a beautiful pass, though, popped up by Christian. Both coaches are like scrapping with their players. They're getting them all juiced up, and then look at Polar taking shots like that. That's the Nichols we wish we saw in game 1.
Yeah, talk about getting juiced up. Fantastic pass here from Pyros, and this is a simple play, and a simpler play, I should say, from Nichols. I think, again, it required high execution on some of the plays in the previous game. You're seeing now a little bit more of a simplified offense, great passing play across the field, and an easy shot on target.
Oh. Speaking of easy shot on target, Christian just had an open net, but had that kind of lower touch, which popped up towards the cross, and then Christian couldn't salvage that situation. But maybe Ramen to Kipper, not on target. He might have even gotten bumped, but now setting Ramen up for success. Polar flipped the wrong way. And not St. Clair getting the equalizer.
And that's twice now that Ramen's just been at the right place at the right time, and defensively, very poor from Nichols. No one in support for Polar as he went into the corner, so he tried to make up for it by getting across and couldn't pick up the boost. And Ramen again, there to strike when Nichols are at their weakest.
Yeah, just kind of these long passes. Both these teams have connected well with each other. Quite different of a game here in game 2. St. Clair quickly tying things up, but here's Nichols bringing some aggression. Polar has a friend there in the box, but having to win these challenges. What, Robin? I thought he was able to save that. Didn't flip the right way either. Now Nichols is in the lead.
Yeah, Rahman had to run from Polar. Polar went for the bump on him, so Rahman moved up, and because of that, the shot went behind him, perfectly placed. And again, quality execution there on an easier play from Nichols results in another goal.
Was the coach. Cross-armed behind K-Frost is just the most intimidating thing ever, and that's probably why they got to perform a little bit better here in game 2. Christian just jumping just high enough to stop that shot from Pyros. Christian not able to clear this out, and I like the pressure that Nichols is putting on. We're just getting these light touches from St. Clair. This is definitely maybe stealable for Nichols, and they seem to believe so. They just forcing all these 50s. Pyros to Polar! Oh. Double commit in the net from St. Clair blocks that away, but that mistouch from Pyros gives a chance for Kipper to shine. Nothing yet for St. Clair.
I don't really feel like Kipper's locked in here on St. Clair. I think he's done really well to stay in the flow of the game. He's made some big saves. He's put on some quality solo plays as you saw him just attack the backboard in the air dribble. He's been great so far. Certainly not a weak link here for St. Clair. I think he's done great, but they are sitting down a goal. And Rahman's got to come up big here with low boost, and he does.
Yeah, after a quite a good setup from K-Frost to just adjust it so well to drop it in front of the net. Nichols now have the ball and good dodge on the one defender, but there's just so many cooks in that kitchen. Midfield all for St. Clair. Polar defends the back wall well. Again, midfield still pushed by St. Clair. Kipper could have had the nose down, and Christian can't take the shot. Good denial by Pyros. But Nichols are just not out of this hole yet. At least now crossing to the left side gives them some space, and Kipper gets removed, and now Nichols have a man advantage to get something done.
Great block again from Rahman, who's come up big defensively, finding himself in that third man position for St. Clair multiple times. And we're spending a lot of time here now on St. Clair's side. A couple of snake bite chances from St. Clair offensively, but it's right back in the hands of Nichols in most cases. And that's fine for Nichols as they're forced to make another big save. And here comes Pyros.
I like that Pyros gets out of the net there to just keep guiding this out. You do not want to let St. Clair get multiple shots on net. That's what was so threatening about them in game 1. That 4-0 shutout, though, it's not something they could keep up, obviously. Nichols are here to swing back. Rahman taking out Pyros. Christian recovers the ball, but not before colliding with Polar, giving a chance for Nichols to stabilize with plenty of real estate to do so. Now Pyros is able to fight for possession, which I just like the way he's starting these plays for Nichols. Now this drops in front of the net, and Kipper doesn't have great control. K-Frost wanted the double tap, but this is cleared away.
Yeah, and guess who? Rahman again, big clear to get St. Clair out of a pickle there defensively, and a quality tackle again needs help. As time is certainly becoming a factor for St. Clair. This one across the Rahman a shot, and just as we say it, Rahman there again for St. Clair.
What a beautiful tee-up, too, just right at his toes. Easiest shot Rahman can take. Pyros went for the flip, or for the jump right in front, and almost close enough to just get a hand on it. And St. Clair tie things up with 1:15 left. It took some time, too, for this to generate. Multiple offenses gone by for St. Clair. Now Nichols kind of running out of boost there. K-Frost gives up the ball, but Nichols have layers that you have to peel back. And Polar sits in the midfield, ready to pass there to Pyros, so the dots are connecting for Nichols, but how do they break down this wall? They gotta do so brick by brick, and Polar flips it in, and Nichols have the lead again.
This is so smart from Polar. First Pyros getting the dunk on Rahman, and then slowing it down and taking the near post shot there. Polar using his brain and forcing the defense into a tough position. Great decision by Polar, and it might have just gotten him the win.
See, especially when Polar's been the one being able to set up everybody, and K-Frost sneaking past a few. Now Polar again, 42 seconds, double tap in the box, Pyros! The shot off the cross, it's still floating, and K-Frost dunks it in. And that is a Nichols College that will be able to tie the series in the next 37 seconds unless St. Clair wake up.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's disaster, but, you know, the assumption is they'd be able to close this one out, and great attack from, great attack there from Polar. into the backboard, setting up the double tap. It was a tough angle to hit. That second shot from Pyro should have gone in. K-Frost there to clean it up. Here comes another one. As Nichols, I think, have finally found their offensive footing here in this series.
Yeah, Nichols just looked like this wait-and-see team in game one. Now they're just on top of this ball at all times. Someone is always chasing it. Someone's always tackling a player. And you love to see the involvement, the energy out of Nichols. Much, much different team from game one to game two, and maybe they could even get their fifth one. And a fantastic answer coming out of Nichols. Maybe a goodbye goal for St. Clair, but we'll be saying hello to game three, tied up 1-1.
Yeah, and I feel like when you look at the differences for Nichols between game 1 and 2, it's very simple. The way they attacked the net was a little bit more consistent here in game 2 than in game 1. Game 1, some great setups, some quality shots, and maybe some good defense from St. Clair, but this time it was undeniable that Nichols' offense was going to find the back of the net multiple times. 12 shots to their name here in game 2, and I feel like Nichols have got their offense going, and if you're on St. Clair, you've got to change things up. You cannot rely on Rahman with the quality tackles and clears to bail you out every single time.
And look at the numbers that Pyros is putting up. A goal, 3 assists, 3 saves, 4 shots. Highest score in this lobby. This is a new player to the scene. He's been competing for around a year, started popping up last year. Apparently has a purple belt in martial arts. Handing out dubs here, or handing out L's, I should say, in that game too. He was pulling in a lot of work, and it's great to see a new player shine. And this is what CRL is really all about, a platform for new players to get known.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about how great he's performing. I mean, in the league, he's top 5 in saves per game right now, and you could see that with 3 out of the 4 there for Nichols. But, I mean, in this game, too, you saw the offensive output from him as well. So you're getting both sides of the field from Pyros. He's been a great pickup for Nichols.
Absolutely. Now St. Clair no longer in control of the series the way we thought after game 1 ended 4-0, which looked like pure domination for the Canadians. But Nichols woke up, had a talk with their coach, Polar to K-Frost. That was almost dangerous. What a save from Rahman.
And again, I mean, defensively, Rahman has been a rock. He wasn't the one to get the most saves on his team in the previous game, but that's because he was a little bit more proactive. He didn't have to get those saves, especially outside the box, getting the clears, getting some breathing room for his team.
This feels like there's no breathing room for St. Clair. This has been Nichols all over them. And even when one person misses a challenge or doesn't get a great touch, they're helping each other out. There's great chemistry on this Nichols College roster, but finally, good clears come out of St. Clair, which turns into a counterattack, which I thought was going to be able to get a goal. Now firing back, multiple missed touches, bumps out of the way. This almost sailed through the net on the other side, too.
Oh, what an attack there from Pyros, almost actually forcing that one through the defender on the attack, but now K-Frost trying to force it across the box, and Nichols trying to lock in the St. Clair defense. Polar fakes it through, and he's going to drop it down near post. I think he got the fake on the first man.
Yeah, Rahman, it was a good pinch to get past the one, and here's Polar off the ceiling. Just drops it down, and I don't know.
I think he just might have missed, honestly.
Missed or fake, everything is calculated. Everything, we don't want to make these players look, it's all calculated, all intentional.
Yeah, either way it went in. And
yeah, a goal's a goal.
Goal's a goal. And Polar on his 5th shot will find the mark. And Nichols, we've been hinting towards it, but the offense certainly on a different level than in game 1. Here they come again. Pyro's shot on target, and Rahman getting his 3rd save will bail out St. Clair again.
Good placement, too, and in that upper corner. Tough save to make. St. Clair still do so. But it feels like it's Nichols able to take shot after shot. You're letting them get away with these passes, too, and a little bit difficult to pull off sometimes. But how does St. Clair counterattack? It felt like last game and game 2, they weren't as consistently successful at clearing. So Nichols were able to commit just all 3 members to the play and eventually break through. St. Clair, though, have had better chances at getting out, but it's still Nichols now going for a double tap. Pyros.
Oh, no.
2 K-Frost in the box, and I thought that was in.
Yeah, K-Frost had the net, but he put it high and off the crossbar and down off the corner. That was the opportunity, and now St. Clair, they poked it free, but that one's off target, and it's still just a 1-goal game.
Crazy, but how many shots? Nichols are at 9 shots, and it's only the first half. St. Clair registered 2.
Oh my.
A little bit cold for the Canadians. Got to see them turn this around. K-Frost not letting this clear get too far away. Good protection there on the right side of the net. And Polar goes over to K-Frost, and St. Clair have to race back to a defense after not generating too much threat on that offense. Not even registering a shot, actually. So it's Nichols that seemed back in control.
There comes a shot from K-Frost, and that one lost all of its power. Pyros has an open net. He missed. It was open for Pyros. The seas parted in front of him. The defense was in disarray, but now another chance as Polar's trying to fight and salvage this play. And I don't know how that one could have possibly have gone wide.
We've all missed an open net. Pyros did enough work in game 2. We'll forgive him for now. He's going for redemption, though. Got to reset off the ceiling. Collides with Ramen. Now this is scary. Polar from down low, and K-Frost taps it in. Nichols finally get the goal they wanted.
Well, you felt like this one was coming as multiple shots. I mean, 15 in total from Nichols here in this game through, 3.5 minutes of this game. Feels like Nichols have been all over St. Clair, especially in their defensive third. And I think right now, Nichols, I mean, it's funny that you're seeing only 2 goals when they put up 15 shots. A poor conversion rate, but the offense is there. And St. Clair have had no answer so far.
Well, if you think about it, if the opponent doesn't have the ball, then they can't score. And if they're dead, they can't defend. That's now a 3rd goal for Nichols after double-digit shots. This is insane.
I mean, they're all over him now. 17 shots, getting the demo as well. It was a free shot for Polar in the end. And Nichols, I think, showing a class above right now. St. Clair, like you said, only 2 shots to their name, and I really can't remember a time where they spent more than a few seconds on the Nichols side.
Just been a lot of possession for Nichols, and St. Clair just have to find a way to slow them down. How do you kind of time the perfect challenge to take the ball away from them? And look, Kipper doing just that. Great dribble. Of course, collides now with a member, and who's quicker on the recovery? It's Nichols, and almost able to dribble that in. St. Clair have to watch out, and how do they get out of this hole? Christian trying to go up high. No, Pyros is there. Polar almost tips it in. Kipper pops it up. And again, St. Clair driving towards a clear. But as Kipper does just that, it goes to K-Frost to Polar, right back to the orange end. Everything that St. Clair does is thrown right back in their face.
Oh man, that one went in off the deflection of a defender. K-Frost, gotta get credit for it. On his 6th shot of the game. Who did this come off? It was a Kipper, it did. And somehow he still put it into his own net. 21 shots, by the way, for Nichols. 21 and 13 saves for St. Clair. Some crazy stats here in game 3. But unfortunately, not the good ones for St. Clair.
It's giving test lobby a little bit with I've never seen someone. Polar has double-digit shots to his own name. At least Jorby talked him up, and I'm glad he's not a liar. We wouldn't put him on the desk if he was. Nichols now on match point, and they're hype. You saw them on the cams. They're all fist bumping. They're all smiles. It's the battle of the greens, and it's green light for Nichols only, though.
And it's such a far cry from what we saw in game 1, and I think that's really just coming down now as we've seen the last 2 games. It's come down to just Nichols not being awake in game 1, despite whatever they were doing pre-game. They didn't come into game 1 with their eyes open. Here now in the last 2 games, they have completely and utterly controlled the entirety of the last 2 games. And St. Clair, this could be their last stop here in this series. They've got to get themselves together, especially offensively, because I mean, defensively, you spent the whole game on defense fine, but you got to find some offense if you're going to come out on top here.
Whatever they were doing pre-game, they were doing an interview. It was the interview debuff that made them a little bit too lax for game 1. I mean, I just like that they were self-aware that, you know, the season didn't start off the way that they wanted, but they were confident that they were going to make a return. They realized that they've lost to teams that are very strong, and this is still their first season in CRL. And you have a coach behind there that's hyping them up, keeping their spirits up. And I think as long as you believe that you can win, then eventually it'll happen, right?
And they've been close. I mean, remember, we're talking about two teams that have played, the top of their division in multiple games. But Nichols in particular have really had a very tough strength of schedule. And they have come very close to being the top teams, taking them to Game 5, almost reverse sweeping, things of that nature. And so the expectation, I think, from the desk and I think from a lot of people who've been paying attention to CRL is that they would do well against a team like St. Clair. And right now, they've been showing that, at least in the last 2 games.
Great drive by Christian. Kind of collides into the wall. Ramen steps up. And challenges that are now favoring St. Clair, at least off this first pitch. But that's just cleared away. And Christian was already falling back for boost, so he was ready for the Nichols approach. But St. Clair just can't be allowing Nichols to get like 20 shots like they did in the previous game. I don't know if it ended up getting to that point, but it got real close. But here's Cape Ross with an open net. Christian can't get there in time. First goal for Nichols.
I'm curious what Christian was all the way in the left back boost on Nichols' side, and nobody could stop the ball before he rotated all the way back. He went coast to coast to get back, and nobody on his team could help him out and delay for an extra second so he could get in net. And a 1-0 lead is handed over to Nichols.
It's off a good counterattack. Polar with the reset off the ceiling. Okay, are we about to be in a video? Look how hyped they are. They know how disgusting that shot was.
Well, and Polar, he's been a little quiet coming into this game. He's been playing fine, but you feel like he'd been able to take over. And I didn't want to mention it too early, but there we go. Big splash from Polar, putting away a solo play and doubling up his team score.
Great to see out of Nichols on match point. Polar to Pyros. Great interception by St. Clair. Now firing back, Christian. He sends it to the blue end. Kipper lost his moment to challenge. Polar brings it up to the sky. Flips it over to Pyros. Now missed a pass. And this is that window of opportunity that St. Clair need to send it all the way down. They got to pick up the pace. They were playing real fast, real loose in game 1. And now they're the ones who have their backs against the wall. St. Clair gotta keep believing, because they're a team that are capable of so much, even under the circumstances of not having your usual third. They've adapted well, but you can't let Nichols get to you. Yeah,
Nichols, I think, just playing at a different speed right now. One of the biggest weaknesses that we've seen from Nichols is they're really uncomfortable defensively. But when they haven't had to play any defense, you're not able to expose them. And it's just offensive attack after offensive attack coming out from Nichols. St. Clair have got to find a way to slow the game down and bring the ball to the offensive third and put Nichols in those uncomfortable situations.
Kipper is missing these opportunities in the corner where he can regain possession. He can start a play for St. Clair, and they rely on him because he's the only one there. There is no backup for Kipper in those moments. And that gives more opportunities for Nichols. Even with that demo, this almost got putted in. But thankfully, St. Clair's defense holds on to only keep this a 2-0 lead going into the second half. But when you're staring down match point, the vibes are not amazing at St. Clair unless this goes in, which again, saved by Polar.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like we're seeing any signs of life from St. Clair. Sure, a couple clears downfield. Maybe attack. Here's a demo. Maybe a chance now. Kipper gets bumped, but he puts it off the post and in. And that's the sign of life we've been looking for on the St. Clair side.
Yeah, just getting kind of hung up on the side, and through the smoke, he tucks this one in. And if Kipper's going to be playing that front line, if he's going to be engaged in the play, he needs to convert and execute. And that's been inconsistent, which I don't blame someone who maybe doesn't have as many matches under his belt, but at least defensively, he stands tall. He saves that. And Nichols steps up. They're cycling well, almost tipping that towards the net. St. Clair makes some space, but they lose it right away. They have some quality touches, but when their members are getting now demoed on their own side of the field, St. Clair don't even know what to do.
But there is a chance here for St. Clair. They've got some good positioning. Unfortunately, that was a great tackle from Pyros as it sends St. Clair back, but plenty of time for St. Clair. You got yourself within one. You certainly can't allow Nichols to find the back of the net anymore. But you've given yourself a shot here, but you got to slow down Polar as he's been threatening the solo plays multiple times now. Christian needs options. He's trying to find Kipper, but he goes over everyone.
just at least decide to go for the corner, and I don't even know if he ended up with boost there, but he lost the ball. St. Clair bringing it back, and St. Clair only down by 1 goal. It only takes one shot, one opportunity, as one rapper would say, and St. Clair haven't had that yet. Nichols, at least defensively, have stepped up. They're not leaving as many gaps as they did in game 1. Of course, both these teams have really improved since then. Well, mainly Nichols, and Christian with that demo has had a valuable opportunity for St. Clair, but 40 seconds left. You're running out of time.
And, I mean, for St. Clair, it's fine to have a play style of capitalizing on mistakes from the opposition, but when the opposition isn't put in positions to make those mistakes, things start to break down. As this one, it's Polar all the way back to the other side, and Nichols up by 2.
Yeah, gotta start getting those shovels out. Maybe being put 6 feet under isn't a great feeling if you're St. Clair, especially when you started game 1 with a 4-0 shutout. Just making Nichols looking silly, and all of a sudden, roles were reversed. And it's Nichols putting up like almost 20 shots last game. This one got pretty close. 17 seconds, St. Clair had at least more offenses going than the last game. Things were picking up. But morale now dies back down last couple of seconds, and St. Clair stuck on that defense once again, where Nichols have been putting them for so many minutes. For so much time, Nichols will be taking the series 3-1.
Such an important series for Nichols to win. They've been so close against some of these top teams. They're finally able to close out a series, and I would say pretty dominant fashion. Sleepy start from them in game 1, but they really got themselves to wake up and got themselves into gear here against St. Clair. And that offense, boy, it looks potent against that St. Clair squad. I'm very interested to see how Nichols finishes out their season.
Must be hat day over there. We got a guy with a crown, now a cowboy hat. Great to see. And then, you know, the hoodie, of course. I was gonna say, you better win this match if you're gonna be wearing a crown, because it's giving silly if that wasn't the case. But you even heard in the interview, like, it doesn't matter how many wins or losses this team has. They just look like a fun team to be on. And if you can enjoy your own company, if you enjoy putting the grind in, then work isn't work. And you could tell with this team that they love putting the hours in, and it's clearly shown. They said in the interview they were ready to die on this hill, that there isn't a team that practices more than them. And it's clearly shown in this series. Yeah,
and shout out to them. They're having a lot of fun there as well. That's great, especially when you can get the guys together, right, at school, and they're able to play with each other, next to each other, and kind of have that LAN environment, that camaraderie, that team spirit. You can see they got a really good vibe going on over there. Not every team has that. Not every team has that CRL. Not every team has that in RLCS. It's really cool to see that some of these collegiate things are able to, or collegiate teams, are able to become such great friends. And I think that does, you know, as Pyros was saying, goes a long way in your chemistry and how you feel about your team.
I'm wondering how St. Clair are feeling. I'd have to leave it up to the people who know math. I only know girl math on whether St. Clair still have a chance to go to
I was like,
playoffs.
What does that mean?
Girl math, okay. Me and Herc will have to explain it to you later. But it's unfortunate to not have Eris, right? One of their better players to be starting today, and you rely on a substitute, which obviously no shade to Kipper. You can only do so much with the amount of time that you have. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I thought he was fine here. Like, I don't think they lost because of him. Definitely not. I think that they were not up to snuff here against the offense of Nichols College.
Well, Nichols College said they were going to put on a show, and, well, I was entertained. But was the desk entertained? We'll hear from them in a sec after this break.